All right, in the last video, we set up our proxy. If you haven't seen that yet, go back to the last video. And now we want to send data into it. Apart from the URL that we have already there, we want to send in data via Google Tag Manager. So I've come up with a little bit of a tag template that you can install. And yeah, let's set up that right now.
Okay, for the second step, we need to set up our event tracking inside of Google Tag Manager. And for that, we'll install an ActiveCampaign event tracking template that I've built, so it will be easy to set up. So the first thing that I need you to do is in the GitHub repository, click on this ActiveCampaign event tracking TPL, and then click on raw, and then just press Command S or Control S in order to download this as the TPL file. So this needs to be TPL. Just going to put this into my download folder, and that should now be saved. Now in Google Tag Manager, I have an account here. This account is installed on the website. We don't have any kind of tags or triggers in here, so we'll set this up from scratch. I want you to go over to the templates and then click on New, and then up here click on the three dots and Import. Then we'll find our TPL file, and then we have it all loaded up. So this is the code. If you change anything, then it might not work anymore. So that might be something that is on your own if you want to do this. But you can go ahead and then save this. So this is not inside of the community gallery. You need to install this manually through the GitHub repository or through this TPL file, because I don't think it's the right fit for the community gallery, as Cloud Functions is not really a standard way of doing things, but my preferred way. Okay, now ActiveCampaign is installed as a tag template, and we can go ahead and install this. Actually, let's go ahead and click here on New as a tag, then Tag Configuration, and here we should find our ActiveCampaign tag template right here. And now we have some different things to fill out. First of all, the cloud function. Again, you can go over to your cloud function and find out the URL by going into the edit mode here. Here we have our URL. Let's copy that, put that into Google Tag Manager. Here. So that should be it. And then you need to choose an identification method. Now, last time we used the contact ID. You can also use an email address, which I wouldn't recommend for PII reasons. And you could also use the user hash that that ActiveCampaign has actually in the background as well. So I'm just going to go with the contact ID, since we are already used to this, as we know the contact ID of this user is 2. And then you would need to fill out the ActiveCampaign contact ID. Now I'm going to do this manually. Obviously, this would be something that you would need to build in, and that's what we're going to do in step number 3. Then we have our event name. Again, I'm going to just use testing right here, and then the value. This time we are sending this from GTM, so let's put in GTM right here and try this out. Just let's do it on all pages. And again, we put in a name, ActiveCampaign, event tracking, and we're sending over a testing event. So let's see if this actually works. We're going to go into the preview mode and then go to our demo shop. Do we have it in here? Yes, right here. Let's connect this. And we are now connected. So we should have our event tracking should have fired with that ID. Exactly the same. So in ActiveCampaign, we should see that there's a new event that came in. Yep, here we go. We are now sending events from GTM. And this is obviously just something for test reasons. We have just put this on an all pages trigger, so it would trigger if I go to the next page and the next page. Obviously, there is something called site tracking that you could be using in order to do that. So I would just go ahead and disable this here for our testing, and maybe attach a different trigger to it. So in our case, we can go ahead and let's quickly build a click trigger for add to cart. This will be our all elements, only on some clicks where the click text contains add to cart. It's pretty straightforward, but if you want to obviously fire this on different other events, then you would be able to do so as well. So yeah, go crazy if you want to fire this whenever. We are going to change the event name to click. Now be aware that this needs to actually be inside of your site tracking as well. So when we go onto tracking here, this needs to be whitelisted. So we have a click in here. If you send something in that is not whitelisted, it will not appear inside of ActiveCampaign. So we'll go with click here, and the event name is click. And then we can send in any data. Let's go ahead and actually send in the page URL, for example. Click. Let's go with the page URL. So this will be dynamically filled out by our variable. So let's try this out. Preview here again. Okay. And we'll go ahead and see. Okay, now we're going ahead and into a product and click on add to cart. And let's see on our click, our tag didn't fire. Probably I have done the click text wrong. So what is the click text? It needs to be add to cart. Okay, let me just quickly change this around. So it should be add to cart. And I'm going to press add to cart again. This time, hopefully on the click. We had our testing event. And then inside of tag manager, we need to have the right contact. Yeah, we have here our click, and this click happened on this page because we have created it this way. So that would be how you can install this with Google Tag Manager. I'm just going to change around this event so it's much clearer. And in the next step, we would now look back on our GitHub repository. We need to have a way to identify the user. Now, obviously, when we looked into Google Tag Manager, we have had the contact ID manually, number 2, so it will always be sent to the profile of the user. But now we want to set something up so it's dynamic, and whatever user comes to our website, we will identify him so we can send it to the right profile inside of ActiveCampaign. So I'll show you how to set this up in the next video.